All right, well, welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to our next matchup for League. We've got Ignited and Capitanbublo facing off for a spot in the gold bracket. It's win or go home time for our 2-2s. So win and you're into gold bracket, and obviously you lose, well, you got a chance to sign up for silver bracket if you're interested. We've already had a few matchups finished up earlier this week with Herdez defeating A-Brink. These two over Shiki, myself over Bob, Stun Zero over Tippy, and right now we're waiting our fifth race to get underway here in just a little bit between these two for the next spot available for gold bracket. Joining with me as well is Vulcan. How are we doing, good sir?
I'm good. I'm fired up. I'm ready for this race. Ignited and Bublo. They're both awesome at this game. This should be a very fun race.
Yeah, I honestly think we've had quite a number of exciting 2-2 races so far, with some really close races and some exciting finishes to go along the way. But we're getting them underway here. You want to talk about what's on our objectives here?
Yeah, I wrote these all out. Kind of just to my thing go. So we have 2 Beast Castle objectives. We have Thresholder. You'll need 1 Beast Claw to get there, and then Day Dissolve. You'll need the second one to get there. OC2 has 2 objectives. Fill the training it earns, and Hades. You'll need both visit locks for Hades. Timeless River, you need both visit locks for those. You have the portals, the windows, that's what they're called. And then Timeless River Pete. Port Royal has the ship fight for the medallion, along with fighting Barbosa. We got a singular objective in Agrabah 2, all the way up to Genie Jafar. Probably the push on this board I would like to, as a racer, I'd like to do the least. Not only do you need 2 visit locks, it's just a long push, and you need all 3 black magics just to get there. Then you have a single objective in Halloween Town with Prison Keeper. World That Never Was has 3 objectives with Roxas, Zigbar, and Data Zemnis. And then lastly, we have Spooky Cave. 4 pages required.
Yeah, so looking at the card, definitely some okay synergy. At least, kind of straightforward of like you get those unlocks and you kind of can just coast on through for the most part for a lot of these objectives. But we're currently in Pride Lands, and so far we've already gotten a number of things here with Blizzard, Sword of the Ancestor, and 2 torn pages, so we're halfway to Spooky already.
Cool. Alright, thank you, Pride Lands. No objectives in Pride Lands, but this is the standard crit opening if it's available to you. You get that guaranteed RNG manip at the start, at least for the first try. So you're not surprised by the push. I think both racers know if it's open, the other person's doing it.
Yep, absolutely. And it's it's very free movement. Don't have to worry about any glide dip. It's just straight up Lion Soar movement. So as long as you got flawless movement with that, you're not gonna really lose out in comparison like in other worlds where actual movement overall can make a bit of a difference as you're traversing.
Yeah.
And Pride Lands is just absolutely stacked to the gills right now. We've got Master Form now and a Fire, so we now just need Thunder to at least get us access to Genie Jafar. Oh my goodness.
Is this it? Is this the Thunder? Oh.
We will take a Magnet, though.
Gladly, yeah.
Yeah, so we talk about Pride Lands just being, a very good place to go, just for the sheer XP you get at the start from doing the Living Bones fight, and then just the sheer amount of checks too, because you have access to every single chest that's available in Pride Lands on the first visit, so you don't have to worry about dipping into second visit as you would with some of the other worlds. So you have access to so many checks, as we see with yet another. Wow. There just before Simba with an ice cream. And okay, so to this point we're done with the gift giving here from Pridelands for the time being.
That's the other thing about Pridelands I never really stopped to think about. It's also one of those things, once you're done with the shotgun, it's a very convenient save warp that I've never stopped to appreciate, that you're just a little closer to the objective by leaving at this point when you're done shotgunning. Versus most, like, if you shotgun Agrabah, you're at the same save point anyway when you come back in, but here, you're a little closer, it's pretty nice.
Yeah, so we're going to see Ignited here. They're going to go out the Roxas area, but because we don't have the Weight of the Dawn, it takes you back to the start of the initial room to just kind of cut down the time travel of having to actually go all the way back, which is kind of a nice little thing for Rando, because without that, you would typically have to go all the way back if you wanted to leave from there.
Bublo stepping into Hollow Bastion, while Ignited checks out the first 3 of Pridelands, not Pridelands, Land of Dragons. The other world with lands in the name.
Yeah, I got Ignited now dipping into Twilight Town with Bublo touching up Hollow Bastion here. So a little bit of a diversity here on content, still with a decent amount of checks as a whole, and especially if you get another membership card, it could definitely be pretty valuable if once you've already been through Bailey fight, because then you can just go right back in for a number of, kind of like with Pridelands, it's just a number of checks available to you. If you wanted to dig a little bit deeper, you'd have to do one force fight after that in HP2, but until we get that second membership card, don't really got to concern ourselves with that at this time. We got
a summon on Ignited side. Chicken Little.
Hey. Alright.
Which of the 4 are your favorite?
Honestly, well, there's there's that other membership card. Honestly, I feel like Chicken is kind of up there for me personally, just because when you don't have forced party members, he's so nice to have if you don't have Magnet or like a good crowd control source.
Yeah.
Just because he is your crowd control source at that point. Genie's nice depending on the forms you have at the time, because it's kind of solely dependent on the forms you have. Stitch, it's a love-hate relationship. And
Bublo ended up getting an identity disc on levels and a money pouch at the end of Bailey, and they now have the Flare Force staff that was just in the shop.
Yeah, so early Duck Flare, always nice as well. Just absolute mob shredder, boss shredder, you name it. Hey, there's our Thunder.
Another visit lock too.
Also weird just seeing so many checks throughout these shotguns. Light and dark as well, so we've got access to final form.
Yep, and we do have master form, at least one form to force that with pretty easily. Nominate sketches, no STT objectives. There could be stuff in there, I guess, if you wanted it, but there's, as far as we know in the sea, we have no reason to go in yet.
Yeah, I think for both runners, probably until STT gets hinted, you're probably not going to go dipping in there unless it's an absolute last resort, like for hunting blindly, just because, like you said, there's no objective, so it's a bit of a time commitment to go diving in there blind with possibly a chance of not finding anything, especially with how stacked most of these worlds have been up front so far.
The thing is about these seeds where they're very front-loaded with the stuff you want, that means later on they're going to be miserable, because you're going to be getting no endorphins, because everything's already been gotten. Speaking of which, a Reflect has been gotten.
We'd love to
along
see
with
that.
A form known as Limit Form.
Okay. We're seeing Bublo dive into the Honey Pot slider minigame. So this is going to give Bublo their first sequence of hints. So for each type of activity that is deemed as prog, so for every mini game you do in 100 Acre, it is a prog point towards that little counter you see there. As of now for Bublo, it says 3 of 4. So once they finish out this mini game, they are going to fulfill the 4 of 4 and get their first hint. And for league settings, it is a spoiler reveal. Our first hint is going to give us 3 worlds that are revealed, showing unlocked forms and that's
forms, pages.
Oh yeah, and pages. Yeah, yep.
Meanwhile, Ignited, she gets a scimitar, the second one for access to the GD4, along with her first real summons, so she can dip into Disney Castle and check that out.
And speaking of royal summons, that's going to come in handy because there is this skull and crossbones there sitting in DC,
along with Valor form.
And we also see from Bublo's end, I think that's a Proud Fang. Yeah, it's a Proud Fang sitting in TT. So there's only one other thing, according to what gets actually revealed. There could still be more contents within said world. Just because those are the only items that get shown doesn't mean that that's all that there is.
Yeah, so even if it's those 3 items, there's still magics possibly there, second chance once more, your summons. The only thing that's hinted is anything that's going to give you progression or access to more checks. Excluding the black magics for Agrabah 2.
Yup.
Or Atlantica, yeah.
Yeah, so Bublo does... I imagine Bublo is probably going to force final, and especially with the info that they have currently, dip into TT to kind of go after that, and might try to make a deeper push for that other Proud Fang. It is just an option to consider, just with Data Syax being on the board, but that is a lot of content that you still would have to do for solely an objective, which is basically the very end of Pride Lands.
Yeah, we need at least 12 out of 15 objectives to complete the game. Preferably, looking at all these, you probably want to do the datas the least. Like doing something like Data Zone or Data Zemnis, you're already dipping into those worlds, so that's not so bad. But Pride Lands is solely a single data at the very end. And with these, with the way experience kind of works with league settings, it's going to be very difficult for you to get above the damage floor for a data. More than likely, you're going to end up fighting that at level 1 if you choose to go there.
So Bublo now dipping into Twilight Town. They'll probably be able to get the final form up to level 4, which with forms not being hinted, that could be pretty good here early on. Ignited also hasn't done Station Fight as well, so they'll probably go Force Final. They'll see that there's a Proud Fang if they push through this minigame, which, yep, they're going to go do that. So they're going to see their first sequence of hints here showing that Proud Fang, so they might opt to go do Station Fight, since they can at least go a bit deeper since they've got Limit Form. So they could get to level 5 most likely before the end of Station Fight. But yeah, as of now, both runners just kind of trading places, so not seeing anything new at this moment. Again, we'll probably see whatever's lying on final form here, at least up to level 4 on Bublo's end. So we'll get at least a glimpse at that. Station fight's always a good spot. If you hold off, like you don't want to hold off on it too long, just because if there is some really good stuff in TT, you don't want to be gatekeeping yourself out of progression, especially even prog points for that matter, since you will get one at the end here of the station fight. But you also get what you can, which we see Bublo getting to level 4 there just before the end. So far, nothing on the forums. There was a quick run on level 4 there at the very end, it looked like.
We know another quick run Ignited just got in Disney Castle Courtyard, along with another form. There's Valor.
There's Valor, yep. So Ignited's sitting kind of nice right now, if you from a form perspective here. With being able to force final form, they're going to be able to really push the boundaries on their forms here a bit. Which, if I remember correctly, and I might be mistaken, I think the deeper levels for forms also give proc points.
I could make up a number and say it's at level 5. So I'm going to do that. It's definitely at level 5. Let me look. I think I have the gen open.
Like, I need to double check for myself, because...
It's 5, 6, and 7. I did not make anything up. Glorious day.
Yeah, that's what I thought, and then I'm like, I know that there's other settings that it starts a bit sooner, so I just wanted to double check my source before like saying it, but thankfully the whispers in our ear was able to confirm that for us.
Ignited prepping this push. 2 objectives in Timeless River makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, but, you know, there could just be something on Minnie here. She might have 2 amazing things, or there might be garbage. We'll see.
Well, especially if you get that crossbones. That gives you your PR access for those 2 objectives there. And you've got Chicken Little as well, so, you know...
And magic.
Yeah, and plenty of magic to choose from. So you've got crowd control for the opening sequence, you've got crowd control for the town fight, the ambush fight. Like, you've got basically full control for the most part through all of PR if you tried to push that with Chicken.
Yep, and if you do Bailey, you're going to have all the ethers you could hope for as well.
Yeah. Yeah, Bublo is seeing all these nifty gifts here. A little bit scary situation here with the dust rocks. These things are very deadly.
Silver rocks are kind of, yeah, like they are like the dead rocks of this game. What are they called from The Link to the Past? Those enemies that just don't die on Death Mountain and hit you. Dead rocks, not death rocks.
And we see Bublo here making good use, which is just also just good knowledge as a whole. Limit Form has built-in MP Rage, so when you take damage, it will refill your MP bar based on the amount of damage that you take. And since with it being on crit and also not really having scary times here again, with not having much defense either, you take a good chunk of health for damage, and you basically get free MP back to not have to worry about tossing any items. So just good knowledge there. Having to be a little bit careful here because no MP, and getting caught up in the air here, a little scary. It's always a little scary of that fourth chest there, traversing the Abu, just because the sorcerers, when they spawn in, they've got a chance to like push you off of the ledge there when they spawn in, so it just creates a very awkward situation.
Well, sometimes you'll start opening the chest and they'll push you off and save you frames because the chest is still technically opening while you're being pushed off. It's actually kind of sick. Otherwise, it's not. You're right. It's an absolute menace.
Especially when you're already on the brink of death. It's the last thing you want to see. Ignited getting up to level 4 here. probably going to be the extent of what they're going to be able to get to before either the fight ends or their form runs out. So still sitting nice here. Just again, they've got access to another form, but Bublo now also having caught up on the form. So if they decided to level up Valor, which I'm kind of surprised Ignited didn't decide to do here, which I think Bublo's going to be setting up for here. Yep. Is just take advantage of the hallway here with Valor form to get your hits racked up very quickly. And especially given the drive gauge situation, you can fall out of Valor form here and be able to just go right back in if you wanted to.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's any good ways to just level along the way. Like, there's no Beast Castle access yet. It's probably one of those things where you already have 4 forms 18 minutes in. You're probably so overwhelmed with them that you're not thinking, oh, let me just stop to do this here. Because you're probably thinking about, oh, where do I level maybe Limit or Final or one of the ones I like to use for these data fights I might be having to doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of... You don't really have a whole lot of great spots at this point in time. Like, DC is definitely your best kind of option between Form and Valor, but you also don't want to take up too much time, especially with Forms not being hinted right now, to kind of like just go power level through it, because if Forms have Forms could end up having absolutely nothing, and you just spent that time doing Forms for nothing. Yeah, we'll be curious to see where both runners go, because again, they're kind of traded places again at this point. Ignited could very well decide that they're going to go on into HV2 here after, just to kind of see what's on the other side of things. And probably given their magic situation, probably in final form, they could probably decide to go through the corridor fight if they're feeling super comfortable with making that push.
Super rude way to end the Bailey fight. Squall throwing magic at the Dusk in the corner, knocking them further back.
Yeah. We heckin' love Leon said almost no runner ever for Bailey fight when he just drags any of the nobodies just to the back end of the fight.
To be fair, in this game, he has no Guardian Forces the Junction. His stats are probably just awful. Like, what are you gonna Junction Chicken Little? What's that gonna do for you? Ignited is gonna check out what's in Hall of Bastion 2. Bublo stepping into the world that never was. Oh, they haven't shotgun. Have they shotgun those yet?
They have not.
Okay. I'm so used to watching most runners shotgun this, but I also still never do this as like my first one.
Yeah, there are some runners that they'll kind of either forget or they'll just kind of push it towards the back end, but it's one of those things where it's there as your first 4. It's always nice to go just quickly check, just because there's always that off chance that there's a progress item, a progression item just sitting there in the first 4, and then
yeah.
Slide dash.
But yeah, it's definitely one of those things where if you're starting in a seed where you only have a certain amount of visit locks, you always want to check your lower spheres, because your opponent's more likely than not going to have what's there as well, and you kind of don't want them to have that advantage. Thankfully, it wasn't much there. More movement, cool. Still on glide 1, so this very good use of final to get around for a little faster.
Mm-hmm. especially if they get to Final 5, then they've got Glide 3 movement, which will be very nice over this Vomit Glide.
Some we might be getting right here. There are going to be dusts on this fight, and then there's some more nobodies afterwards in another fight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Bublo going to tell us what's at the top of the tower. Might step into TT2 to level final a bit further. There are no objectives there, but it's still very quick progression points. And we do know that there is a torn page in the world in Twilight Town, along with it looks like another Sword of the Ancestor. That one's not as important looking at objectives, but there could always be some in China.
Alright, well, we see that Agrabah is done here. SP is technically done in terms of like what is being revealed, but there is more residing somewhere in SP.
Yeah, maybe some magic, another summon.
Alright, Ignited going into core here. Yep, and this is also another nice move here, just because you got the drive orb bubbles there that you can use to just quickly level up Master Form. Which is just another good knowledge check of like making the most of your forms when you don't have Drive Converter, especially.
These berserkers are being a bit spooky. There we go.
Yeah.
Hammer's also
spooky,
very
almost
spooky
getting sniped there. Hey, we got Reflera. All right.
I love watching them drop from the ceiling. It's so absurd how far they fly.
Good job there, not popping into form immediately on the bubble, so you get as much of these as you possibly can. They're probably gonna do the core clip to get out of here and reset the initial bubble, or they might go for a core skip. No, they went for it, but just falling short there.
Thankfully, with enough drive, you got Valor. You can just get your drive back very quickly if needed. Yeah, there we go. I gotta go get some more final levels, and Bublo following them, heading on in to Hollow Bastion 2.
Alright, so still nothing so far on these forms while Ignite is being hunted down by a Dancer.
Yep, we had so much at the start of the scene. What could possibly be left anywhere?
Right?
Oh no!
And Dancers doing what they like to do best, high kicking you to the face.
Make this like Pokemon. They miss that jump kick and they take damage. Please.
But it does kind of work for Ignited. Because of that, it does also reset the drive bubble there. So in a weird way, it does kind of work. Because they might attempt to go for the core skip again here.
Yeah, this could be the Dancer just rooting them on. You know, get back in there, give it another try.
Right? Like, hey, we heard you fell just short of a little trick. Let me help you out and give you a better chance.
We believe in you. Now die.
Have a little bit. There we go.
Reflect. Aerial dodge.
No.
Oh. Very smart.
Good.
Yeah. Back here. I like that.
Yeah, very smart. That way you don't have to dive back into core to refresh your drive, and then just diving right back into Dancer. Yeah, nice magics, nice stats here overall in final form at the very least, with 2532 now with the next level up that he just got. So at least we have a little bit of power, especially when we're in form.
What's over here? Red chest? Purple
and a
chest.
weapon.
Well, Data Zoltan's a thing. I'll gladly take a reaction boost any day along the way for that.
Also, with Bublo reaching level 5 final and finishing out the corridor fight, we see that Pride Lands is done. So the only thing now, basically, for waiting for Pride Lands is if you decide to do data sacks, nothing more.
Less of an incentive now. Along with a torn page. Oh, we already knew that in Port Royal, didn't we?
Yeah, so Halloween Town is our newest one, which I can't quite make out what that is.
I think that's a Beast Claw.
That is a Beast Claw, yep.
Which you need one for Thresholder. The issue is you need to find the Bone Fist, which who knows? We don't know where those are.
Yeah, you can only, I mean, you have a number of places to try and guess on where it could be, but as of now, yeah, you don't have any info to kind of guide you in that direction.
Bublo resetting the room to get their drive ores back, be able to farm a little bit more. Meanwhile, Ignited, she's going to be using Valor up here to take care of the shadows, get some hits in. Leveling that Valor along the way.
And I think Bublo's gonna just go ahead and exit from here, or maybe try and give it a good old college try here for core skip. As soon as they latch on to where they need to here. There we go.
Oh, they had it.
That is the one thing, like, if you're not...
There we go.
Like, even for myself, if you're not super comfortable... Whoa! Do they have a drive recovery?
Nice,
They do have a drive recovery. Okay. Oh.
All right, calm, cool, and collected. Okay. Coming back out.
Oh, if they had maintained that height when they went to go pop that drive recovery, I think they would have been able to make it there. But good effort. A good effort. Bublo might be able to get this to level 6 here. Which would be pretty nice considering... nope, just shy. So maybe Ignited's got enough to get there to level 6. Not 100% sure. No, short as well. Alright, so we won't get to find out what's on Final 6 just yet, because we unfortunately don't have any other sources of nobodies at this point in time. So Final 6 gets to just sit there lying in wait to be revealed.
Still... Oh no, never mind. I was going to say no skill in crossbones, but that's in Disney Castle. Never mind. It didn't matter anyway. Into LOD.
Yeah, like, we're kind of in a bit of a dry spell here now. Everything was just so great and just up front, and now we're just...
It's somehow bottlenecked.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
It's crazy how that works sometimes. You're just like, okay, cool. Everything's just going along at a great pace, and then all of a sudden you're like, ugh, where are things? Hey, but hey, there's our...
OC sword. Okay.
Yep. I had to look over at Ignited because I'm like, I couldn't tell what the icon was on Bublo's because they're using two different things that I'm not used to.
Yeah, we got... So it's going to be access to Phil Earn's objective. So some they're likely going to push, maybe after clearing this out a bit. I was going to make a joke how the progression was all just going to be like right on Demix, like just short of the progression, or like whatever Vizalaka would be, and then like immediately it's like, oh no, there's one. Yeah, so thankfully, the nice thing for
to kind of touch up on objectives, the nice thing for Genie Jafar, although it is a bit of a deeper push, you can kind of put Genie Jafar on the back burner until you're good and ready. If that ends up being one of your objectives that you decide to pursue, because then at that point you can just basically blitz the rest of Agrabah 1 and 2 to that point, and not have to be concerned about, okay, well, is there another unlock I gotta chase here or something to kind of get me to my other objectives. It's just straightforward. You just go at that point.
Here.
Hey, there's our Bone Fist. Okay.
And then you can get the Beast Fist.
Hopefully. We pray that it's the first visit. Because we don't know where the other bone we don't know where the other beast claw is yet.
Well, what if it's just right here?
If it's right here, cool. It is not. It is OC2 unlocking itself.
Cool. All right.
We got Ignited. She's pushing deeper into LOD here.
There's the cure. First one of the seed.
Probably won't be the last.
Yeah.
So if you're Ignited, going through the rest of LOD here, okay, there's our first Way to the Dawn. All right, so that gives us our Roxas and Zigbar OBJs. So, if you're Ignited at this point, having pushed this far, you know that there's no objectives for LOD. Are you gonna push to Minute Fight, or are you gonna at least go to Summit, check the 2 chests there, and then just dip? Or
I'd like to check the 2 chests. I personally would not do Minute Fight, even if it is like the level limit form. I could just be doing that in STT instead, and checking something, and that'd be a little check density faster. You know, free stat increase. And then if I had access to like OC, I'd shotgun that. So I likely think they're going to be she's going to be turning around here.
Yep.
Ooh, once more, nice.
Okay. So
that's going to be very helpful with some of these objectives.
Yes.
Especially if you just touch Data Zoltan and you don't have once more, you're kind of dead.
Alright. Yep. Ignited now following in the footsteps of Bublo into OC. They're going to find that OC2 unlock, and I imagine probably going to make a pretty deep push here to at least get through Phil. You could potentially even maybe go to Halloween Town after, at least if you're in Bublo's shoe. And again, seeing Ignited again use final form here, since it's Glide 3 final, instead of just going around in base Sora. So it's just taking full advantage of being able to use final form.
Yep, and without worry of anti-points either, with these settings, you do have the option to... Well, it's not that you have the option. You can only get anti-form if you have Light and Darkness equipped. So there's no penalty to using forms, which is very, very comfy in certain ways.
Well, and even for final form, the nice thing with doing that is you're at least low. Even if anti-points were a concern, you are lowering your anti-points every time you go into final form.
I think it was every time you go into anti or you get a form. Hold on a second, I'm doing research.
Because final form is technically like your full-on light rendition to counter that, because you can never go into anti-form using final form.
Yeah, I don't remember it going down. Oh, it does go down. Wow. All right, never mind. It goes down by 10 points?
Yeah, it goes down a lot.
Crazy. I should be spamming this all the time when I have it. Never mind. All right.
Yep. Yeah. Any time when you don't have when you have a hard force on. Yeah. Anytime you have final form, if you've been using other forms a lot, it's always nice to, even if you're just using it to kind of go into an area, just pop final form if you've got it to kind of free yourself a little bit of that pushing towards ANT. But all right, so we have Bublo now getting their next sequence of hints. Hollow Bastion, good news. There's nothing else there but magic or second chance and or summons. So that's actually going to be probably a huge sigh of relief to see, because then that means you don't have to worry yourself with core. You don't have to worry now about pushing deeper into Hollow Bastion. You can kind of just leave it alone. The downside, of course, if second chance is residing somewhere in Hollow Bastion, well, cue sad music. Also, I do apologize. Ignited did get that slightly before, but I did not see it marked clearly. So we kind of knew that, like a split moment before. Okay, so we have Reflega now. We got Genie. Yep. Yeah, these stats at Final Form are kind of cooking, so OC2 might not really be all that big of an issue to just push on through to Hades. Especially having Duck Flare in your pocket and a decent level for final. You can get final form to level 6 most likely with the ambush, the ambush fight.
I personally, since it kicks me back to the GOA and like the portal's right next to this one, I would dip in Halloween Town and shotgun that. Prison Keeper is an objective. I'm probably not going to be getting. I might get like a level just doing the. I almost said the ice cream fight, the candy cane lane fight.
I mean, it fits. It's a dessert, so I mean,
Yeah,
why not have ice cream?
there's probably one there. They're definitely not all hinted, and I'm making that up. Hey, here we go. Here we go.
Yeah, and if you find that bone, if you find the beast claw, then at least then you've got a game plan of, okay, I could kind of follow the breadcrumbs towards Thresholder, level up my Valor form some more in the parlor fight, and hey, look at that! There's the beast claw, just sitting right there.
Beast just dropped it when he visited Halloween Town. Oh, my hand's gone. I just left it in the square. My bad.
Okay, and Berserk Charge. Yeah, I'm gonna be skimming through here. Not really anything other than 2 stat up chests. Hey, good old Whirligoof on Goofy for his shield. Got a nice little magnet. Could do some fancy stuff with the Hades if you wanted to. Jesus said that this fight will, from here on forth, be known as the ice cream fight.
Good. I've been trying to get that happen for years. Well, no, that's a lie too. Ooh.
Thankfully,
Yep.
Thankfully they were done with their shots, because Bublo doesn't have once more just yet. So that Jack in the Box would have, or that Toy Soldier would have gotten a hold of Bublo, they would have been fallen over, unfortunately.
Thankfully, the iframes on Sonic Rave are kind of crazy. That was Young Vulcan's strat for most datas. It's just Sonic Rave, they retaliate, hit me with second chance once more. MP Rage gives me all the magic back. Sonic Rave again. That was the ultimate Data Roxas strat until he Beybladed, and then it didn't work.
Until he Beyblades, you're like, panic, panic, panic. We see Ignited here. She's trying to do some Master Form stuff on Hydra. Gonna try to make the most here of the drive converter, or not drive converter, the drive orbs that do fall. Hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to Meg since she drops a lot of drive orbs as well. So Hydra is also a really good spot to level up Master Form if you're able to do so.
It's a little cool piece of chest routing from Bublo that I've never like stopped to consider before. If I'm going to if I'm going to Halloween Town, I'm not going to stay there to do the objective. They got one of the chests on the way back in the woods, which I think was kind of cool. I don't think I've ever seen it routed like that, knowing they were just going to push this.
Oh, there's Meg, right on cue. Not quite enough for 6, but hey. Nice little accessory slot on Master 5, but they will be able to go into Master Form again at the end of this fight, so...
Ooh, gets on the head, nice. Get up on the Hydra's neck.
Yeah, we take getting up on the Hydra literally... Oh, okay. Alright, and we get hopefully a chance to see what's on Master 6 here. Just a crystal. So we're still...
and Fantasia for Prison Keeper.
Also, OC is done on Ignited's side. So getting that excuse me. Getting that Master 5 and Master 6 there were key prog points there coming out of OC to get their next hint. I'm trying to see what else got hinted here. Oh, good news, fans. For STT haters, STT is dead.
Keep it that way.
So, yeah, the talks from earlier when STT access was granted, yeah, not very thankful to not even remotely think about making that push.
So probably gonna be... You probably have in the back of your mind, if I have to do the SCT, maybe I can level limit along the way there. Now that idea is completely out. Probably gonna see maybe a more focused leveling of limit from Ignited. They're at 4, so they've been getting along the way.
Actually,
yeah, no team revealed as well, confirming, yeah, nothing there.
Surprised to not see Bublo at least equip another draw, a draw or two, just to kind of make grabbing these clusters a little bit quicker. But I mean, it's not super detrimental to not have those other draws. It just makes it a little bit cleaner, but still not a big deal here. Got a nice little loop, and now we just pray that Stitch actually does his job, which, let's face it, 9 times out of 10, Stitch is just going to stay here rocking the ukulele and just not lick you. But, of course, now that we say that, Stitch is actually just defying everything. Oh, back to the Yuki. Yeah, I like this from Bublo here. Just blizzard. Oh! Unfortunate. Since Stitch was in the middle of doing something and it was very upfront personal, Stitch does not protect you from everything at all times. So, unfortunately, getting caught up there and taking a very, for the time being, a bit of a costly death just because they were pretty deep on their screens grind here.
Yeah, any auto-scroller... Not auto-scroller, but you know what I mean. Anything like Minute Fight, this, where it's a set amount of time, like any deaths here are always the ones that probably will hurt you the most in your own like state of tilting and whatnot. At least for me. The other ones I can laugh at, kind of.
Yeah, I can definitely agree. Like because these kind of deaths are definitely ones that, depending on when they happen, can really hurt. Like you said, I think Bublo was good in it, plus into this grind, so that's just automatically trying to get your levels back. That's already another minute that you're adding on. From that time of death, plus however long it took to get set up for the XP boost.
I jump on Valor 5.
Getting sniped again. Bubble having a bit of a rough time here. And Ignited, looks like, yeah, she's just going to go straight for the full kill. Did a good job there to utilize Valor Form. Just to kind of squeeze in those extra hits, because now they're one prog point away from their next sequence of hints, so they almost have the whole picture revealed to them. As far as like where stuff is located.
Yeah, with what the racers have across both cross information and what they have. The only things we don't have access to are still Data Zone, 2 objectives in TR, Spooky Cave, and Data Zenus. Everything else we have access to across both runners. United stopping to fight Oogie Boogie. There's still stuff here, nothing progression-wise, but this is progression points.
Yeah, I like this from Ignited.
Hint. Yeah.
It also, like, Oogie is a little terrifying at times, but it also is kind of one of those things where it is a bit of an auto scroller, but it also kind of gives you a chance to semi catch your breath while keeping on alert while you're working your way through it. Ooh, gonna have a present here joining. And yeah, again, a nice little thing here, which is using Valor to squeeze in as many hits as they can. Try and hopefully get to 6, which not quite going to get there, but they're at least probably knocking on the door for Valor level 6, which gets them that much closer. Zora's Heart has the other Beast Claw. Halloween Town just finished up with that fire. And what else got revealed? Oh, 100 Acre has our other Way to the Dawn. And Bublo is super rich now with the other money pouch. So this could put a bit more emphasis for levels now, because Bublo's up to level 32, and we still haven't seen that Beast Claw yet. Also, shout out again to Ignited, just continuing to take full advantage of Final Form, lighting everywhere. I mean, your Final Form is leveled up enough that you can basically afford to use it whenever you want without even having to worry about it running out.
Cool, more cure. Give me another one, please. Oh, okay, that's fine.
Okay.
I guess I'll take another magnet, fine.
Bubble is not going to be too happy to see that second magnet, but I'm not having an explosion or anything to kind of pair that with. I'm not going to be sorely disappointed on seeing it, but a little bit better ad control. Ooh, and a Shocktron Plus. Alright, we got Ignited now about to take on Thresholder for their next objective. Wonder what kind of kill we're going to get. Probably imagine it's going to be Trinity. Yep. So the classic Trinity quick kill here. Just doing empty Trinity into the wall or away from enemies and just watch the show happen for insta death.
Bublo doing the same. Another visit lock. All right, there's access to at least 12 of the 15 objectives across both racers.
Yeah, so technically we are in go mode with having that kind of access. Is it probably going to be your for sure go mode? Probably not. There will probably be some changes depending on what else you find.
Yeah, instead of data SciX, they might push for pages, push for poo.
Okay, we see Bublo just immediately dipping from BC to just go straight into doing TR objectives here.
Yep, you got your secondary magnet now. You got 2 objectives. There's a Port Royal sword in here, right? Is that what my brain is looking at?
Yes. And
they
there
don't
it is.
Have. Yep, that was their first one technically. Oh, so wait, they didn't have access to Port Royal. I lied. Well, now they have full access to all their objectives. Not all of them. The 12 out of 15 they can do if they want to finish.
So, hey, there's Final Form for real now. So Ignited has found a glide as well. They're just after the pot minigame, or the escort minigame, I guess you should say. So now they don't have to necessarily rely on Final Form as much. They'll probably still prefer to do Final Form gliding since it is a Glide 3 versus Glide 2 rendition. But if they're in a case where they're either solo or with a forced party member, then they at least have a bit quicker movement. Looks like Ignited, she's going to go ahead and go do some XP grinding now herself. Magic Stat, I believe, is honestly seeing a little bit better than what Bublo's was at the time of trying to go for it, because they did have that extra accessory slot to throw on from that Master 5 get, and it looks like, yeah, they're just at the XP boost threshold, but I think they're going to probably try and squeeze that down a little bit if they're going to use Stitch. Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh. You could always, with once more, try to do it on the fly with a certain combo in the room. Maybe start with Final Fires.
Okay, there we go.
And then into Stitch. There we go. That's perfect.
And with Bublo not really using Master Form through any of the rooms, I think they're just kind of not overly concerning themselves with whatever is on the forms.
It's probably one of those things where trying to gun as fast as possible with the idea of, okay, like 3 deaths on screens. A lot of the mindsets of these top runners are, okay, I'm now insanely behind because of this. It's probably just gunning for these objectives. Ooh.
I definitely feel that very much. As I'm sure many other runners have experienced that as well. Of certain deaths just kind of make you feel like you are way behind the 8 ball. Also, we're just seeing Magnera now just go absolutely crazy with Ukulele here. So, plenty of time left here for screens.
Ooh, Pete
And
being annoying. There we go.
like base Sora stats now, we're chilling. 40 set, like you can even take off some of your magic accessories to kind of make strength a little bit more bearable. But we're cooking. Also, we still haven't seen that Beast Claw yet. That's on levels, and we're pushing level. We've already achieved level 44. Still nothing. Yeah, I was gonna say they're gonna probably dip just to be safe here, just before 46. But yeah, look at the insane difference now for stats in base Sora.
Yeah, that second magnet might have come in clutch. That might make a difference in the speed between certain fights, especially across the world there never was.
Mm-hmm. And not only that, but like again, that extra accessory slot just to kind of inch your stats up just a little bit more. So when you if you do get some stat ups from levels, and boom, all of a sudden you've just turned everything into a meat grinder.
Oh, very quick. I didn't even see what happened. The chicken just pulled them in and they exploded.
Alright, so World That Never Was has our other Bone Fist, the other Skill and Crossbones Wisdom form. And now basically everything else has been revealed, so we now have the entire picture of what we're hunting, if we so choose to hunt anyway. BC is officially done with that final form that was found just before Beast. Elodie has another torn page, which to that point is at Shan Yu or beyond, which is kind of troublesome just because if it's not on Shan Yu, then well, you got to go through all of everything else since we don't have the capabilities to throw and skip. Ooh, what I see here? Thankfully, once more. Yeah, a little bit too much juice going into that, but should be okay here coming out to just pop limit form as soon as they go on top. Yep. Very nicely done to recover that. And yeah, with the stats where they're at right now, 41, 46 base form, you're vibing for World That Never Was. Zigbar, no problem. Like anything and everything you could ask for at this point. You
Still
can
missing
just
like Hori Slash, but yeah, with the good stats and with final form, I don't think these racers are gonna need it.
Nope.
For all we know, it's just in one of these two chests right here, or the chest before Zigbar.
Yeah. Yeah. I found out from my race against Bob that Hori was just before literally the chest before Zigbar. And because of how I had everything set up for my go mode, I basically stopped opening up a number of chests, including Second Chance that was sitting in DC Courtyard.
Always open chest. Get your endorphins. Oh no!
But hey, we know now Final Six has nothing but a potion.
Where is all the anything on forums? So we have two things.
Yeah, and that's not even to say like there's whatever else is possibly on there, but like Valor is at 6, Masters at 6, Finals at 6, Limits at 4. Like these are some deep form locations. And quite frankly, if you're not doing Data Final Zen or Data Zen, then we're probably not going to see that Wisdom form.
You could just maybe, yeah.
All right.
Might have pushed. That's so close to the actual gate for the getting him into a room.
Ooh, accidentally went
Using
Trinity.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit above the gate. Yeah, so he's not going to room transition.
And Donald, unfortunately, has died.
Yep, there's second phase, yeah.
Yeah, we're kind of in an awkward situation here.
Get the duck up, get into final.
Just going to have to hope that he reloads here now so he can start trying to juggle him with final form. With the air combo boost and the stats and everything, I think you'll be okay here. Just go all in on the final. Yeah. Beautiful stuff
Great
here.
recovery.
Beautiful stuff. Final form juggle is just such a thing of beauty.
That's 3 of the 4 Torpages Bublo will need. They have the hint for the ones in LOD now, but they didn't push it as far as Ignited did. So they are likely not going to be getting that one. So they should know if they want to rush Spooky Cave, they will need to start pushing some forms.
Yeah, we only have a few more checks on levels before it's level 50. Bubble getting through Barbosa here, so they're now at 7 objectives. United's probably going to be making some quick work here now to push on through to get up to their 7, and then of course can very well quickly go get up to 9.
Nothing at Kanga's house.
Bubble's probably going to be hoping that they see wherever that torn page is on forums. Because I highly doubt at this point, knowing what's hinted for LOD, that you're even going to be setting foot back in there. Or no, they kind of have to because they don't have the Way to the Dawn. So they're hunting their Way to the Dawn. That's right.
True. So they might be stepping back in, yeah. Probably will start clearing out their other... they're going to gun for Genie Jafar, which I agree with.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a lot of options, and the options you do have, such as something like Data Syax, I like this bush a little better than that one. Especially since you can level forms on the way. Master Form, I think, works very well in the treasure fight, along with Valor.
Yeah, and I mean, if you really wanted to make a case for Data Syax, you could with having Pan at your disposal. As of now, Bublo is at least looking at Hades and Genie Jafar for what they've got. They could go do Data Syax if they really wanted to, but their biggest thing they're missing right now is that Way to the Dawn, which is unfortunately, I believe it was during Mountain Climb was where the Way to the Dawn was. Alright, Ignited, she's trying to get limit form level up here. Great spot to do so, especially having well, none of the pirates hit her, unfortunately, so it's gonna have to use a couple items, which, I mean, no big deal. They're royally rich here, so okay, right before cave fight. Thank you. I couldn't remember for sure if it was on Mountain Climb or if it was on or around there.
All right, you need wisdom.
Oh my gosh!
Cool.
You need wisdom form, or you need to have auto wisdom and hope it's somewhere amongst those levels. Alrighty.
Well, probably not going to see Spooky Cave.
Yeah. So Spooky Cave probably, most likely off the table. unless somehow you score an auto wisdom, at least on looking at it from Ignited's perspective. Again, unless you decide you're gonna gung ho it for Data Zem, which honestly it's gonna be a bit of a commitment and also a bit scary there with no second chance. So you basically have to play that. So basically, flawless as flawless can be.
Well, let's say you do everything, but your last one, and you have access to Data Zemnis. You gun for it. You get Wisdom. I'm just gonna go level that and see if, especially if I'm up to like before Kanga's house, I'm just gonna level that instead and go do Spooky Cave. To be honest, so I don't see pushing for Data Zemnis even without like even just doing Luxor and Syax. I think I can see that as being a really good play too. Way of the Dawn likely is in page 3? No. I think we already, Bublo has already looked in there.
Yep,
So Kanga knew Bublo was coming over and hit all the good stuff.
Yeah, so it is Spooky and Beyond. Because it could still be in Starry Hill, unfortunately. Which would mean then you're really banking, if you're at least on Bubblo's end, but you're gonna find that you'd find that way to Dawn way before that. But
yeah, so since that Way of the Dawn is back, well, I guess we know it can't be on Starry Hill then with that information. Like it has to be in Spooky Cave. That Way of the Dawn. If Wisdom form is past Syax, I mean.
True. Very true.
And I'm just gonna say it, Auto Wisdom's an SCT for sure.
Right? The nastiest curveball that you could possibly have is just Auto Limit just chill, or Auto Wisdom just chilling somewhere in STT.
The tutorial chest.
We got Ignited, she's also kind of I think still kind of hoping. I think they're hoping to find that Wisdom form.
There you go.
Yeah, they're hard hoping for that Wisdom form, which I don't blame them. That would basically put you away from having to do any of the datas. Now you could still make a case of going in. Obviously, like if it's not here, then probably make a case for Data Syax and just blitz the rest of Pride Lands and do Pride Lands 2. But because you're probably not going to dip back in to spend another extra minute waiting in at the top of Summit for that to all go down. Because then that in itself would kind of be a bit of considering here. It would be more of a mind game, I would feel like, at that point, because then you're just sitting there waiting for that minute of like, oh gosh, am I making the right choice? Because you're committed no matter what, unless you find a way to die. And given how strong you are, that's going to be very hard to do.
Okay, Ignited. Alright, getting a good setup for DM skip for Luxord.
Yep, just get through that very nicely here. And there's Wisdom form.
Right there. Alright, cool.
So we will find this torn page. It's just a matter of what is it on.
Yeah, let's see. So Ignited, she hasn't done TR. Guess what's a great place to level Wisdom? Where do you think they're gonna go?
That's actually a really good play here, because then you're still getting the progression through while doing your objective, and you're getting Wisdom form just knocked out of the way.
Bublo gets their Genie Jafar objective out of the way, and Ignited will be getting Oh, they already got their skill and crossbones, didn't they?
Yes.
Oh no, they didn't. Whoa, do they have both? Oh, they have both. What was the
Yeah,
other
they
one
had
again?
both because the other one was.
Oh, that was just in the world that never was. Okay,
Yeah, it
yeah,
was
my
just in
bad.
the world that never was. Yeah. Yeah, so I imagine is probably going to level up Wisdom Form here first, since that is your most opportunistic chance of finding that torn page.
Google pushing for Hades. Another objective they're going to be needing.
I also like this from Ignited, also throwing on a drive converter just to kind of add on to that a little bit more. Okay, I like this. You're gonna get to Master 7 here a little bit quicker, because you could very well just decide to dip out, or just go back through a rotation of the windows, and just do Wisdom Form at that point. So I definitely like this from Ignited here, taking the most advantage of the drive converter orbs.
Yeah, and then if it doesn't play out, honestly, not a bad idea to just like dip out and rush back over to the hallway and just throw down some magnets.
Yeah, because no matter what, you're committed. You're going to be getting the Windows objective, so you may as well try to get Master to 7 best you can here.
Also, the room with all the lightning towers. Honestly, that's really good for Master as well. All right, auto final. Cool.
All right, so nice auto final there.
We're gonna get final 6 more than likely here. Get the, I think it's a mithril crystal.
Yes,
so
on
nope,
6 was a mithril crystal. Nice
fire
boost on Wisdom 2. Blazing crystal on 3. Alright. Gotta be careful here, because I know you can still just push on through here. But yeah, it'll be fine, because you can still, the windows, you can just do a gigantic rotation here.
Well, there's not only that, but let's say, all right, what's next? Well, Genie Jafar, Ignited has not touched Treasure Room. There's about 50 Heartless in there. Falling Segment. The 2 fat guys explode into more small Heartless.
Ooh, I kind of like that little mini farm there, just to squeeze out a few extra hits. Because until you do a finisher, it will not end the fight. So that's actually kind of nice there, just to squeeze in a few little last extra hits. As Bublo is now through Hades, they still are hunting for their way to the dawn.
Yep.
So their only option at this point, if they want that, is to go back into LOD.
They don't have to go too far. They have 2 magnets, so it's going to speed these fights up a little bit. From there, they will likely do the 2 fights. If they do choose to do Luxord for Wisdom instead, they might be able to level that quickly to get the 4th torn page. Otherwise, Data Psyx would be their last thing they would need to do.
And that's going to be a bit of content in itself, because Ignited, at least right now with what she's doing, she's knocking out her forms along the way towards these objectives, while Bublo's kind of killed off a lot of like the premium spots for these forms. So they've got a lot of work still to do for their drive roulette if they're going to be still trying to go after that page.
The other thing is that Beast Claw is on level 50. So we know Bublo is unfortunately probably not going to be able to get to that Data Zone objective either as an alternative option. Whereas Ignited, she might just get that option here. Likely might not want to push it though, but another place we can level Wisdom right here. Since Master is done.
Yep, she's going to take full advantage of what they can, and they could even, if they wanted to, I think with drive, I think their drive is at 9. They can even decide to do wisdom form stuff up to the ambush fight and then go into final form before the room.
Okay, nothing.
Holy cow.
Reminder, 2 known checks on forms.
And we only have 5 more checks left on forms, so we gotta find this sucker at some point.
Bublo gonna keep pushing for that page. It might just be on Shan Yu. If so, that might be very big for them instead of pushing Luxord and then drive rouletting and all that. So if you're a Bublo fan, you're hoping that that Torn page is just gonna be on Shan Yu if they push it.
Alright, looks like Ignited is just gonna go straight on up to do final form here. I don't think they'll get to final 7 from here because I don't think they've really touched anything in final. Yeah, I don't think they had really touched anything in final form since they had gotten wisdom. So
yeah,
gonna have to do a little bit backtracking for that. But
Bublo doing minute fight to check limit form as well. We know it's dead. They don't. I'm still praying for them anyway to get it. I know it's I know it's not gonna happen, but I still want to pray.
Yeah, Bublo's best case scenario is Torn pages on Shan Yu. Like that is the ultimate best case scenario for them.
Yeah.
Because now, unfortunately, that wisdom form being before Psyx, there's still no guarantee that that Way to the Dawn isn't spooky.
He's not really cooperating for Ignited today. Yeah, I'm gonna start the fire. Ooh. They're throwing balls in the middle of the arena.
Oh my gosh!
Very,
Talk about
scary.
like iframes of the century right there. Like Hades was already in there swinging, and there was a like pillar of fire underneath Ignited at that point. Oh my gosh!
Very scary. Alright, pushing for Genie Jafar. And then Ignited will need to do one more objective after this. The Jafar. But we'll likely... I mean, the odds have to be... Like, come on. It's gotta be somewhere. It's gotta be on Wisdom somewhere. Bublo did not head for Shan Yu. They just wanted the level limit to check for pages. I mean, I agree with this as well, because you might as well push this. Wisdom form is here, you know that with your hints. There are 2 objectives here, so this makes sense that they would push this instead.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they just get Wisdom early, although you can't really level Wisdom along the way here, there's only nobodies, still... Well, if, let's say you get Wisdom on Roxas, you could then turn around and just fight the Neo Shadows and Shadows around this area pretty easily to get those form levels.
Yeah, if you really wanted to go super far back, since we haven't progressed to where still doesn't have once more, so any wombo combo stuff here is extra scary.
They ignore the chest on the summit then.
Ooh.
Oh, that hurts.
Yeah, so they're not gonna have Scum, period.
Torn pages.
Alright, so Torn page on Wisdom 6.
So no datas for Ignited. I don't see them. One more level for Data Zone if they want. Or push Data No, I see them pushing Genie Jafar, Torn page. And then getting out of the seat as quick as possible.
Yeah. Probably breathing a huge sigh of relief, finally finding that Torn page of like, okay, we're done with Form Roulette. Let's just power through the rest of this content now. But hey, who knows? We might get it. We might be in for a treat to see, which of the three forms here is yielding our ice cream, at the very least. Oh, well, there it is.
Oh.
Wisdom form held the answer to everything.
This is so messed up, dude.
So you in fact needed at least progression wise to get to what you needed. You needed at least 4 form.
So let's say this torn page was not on Shanyu. Let's say that. You needed Wisdom 7 to get to TT3, to get the other Sword of the Ancestor, to go over to LOD2 to get that other torn page.
Mm-hmm.
Oh?
And the funny thing is, there's still no guarantee that you see that sucker not sitting there on Data Zigbar.
Oh, the torn page? Oh, maybe.
Because torn pages are not limited to anything. They could literally be chilling on Data Zigbar.
Okay. Nah, I'm gonna pray it's vanilla. Vanilla chip.
Yeah, Ignited is on her way now to Jafar, and then gets to kind of take a bit of a reprieve to just escort the children through Spooky Cave, and then we'll be on their way here soon to final fight.
What's a potion? You know, it was probably limit 6 was Mithril Crystal. Or maybe that was a seed from 7 years ago. Yes, 7.
Just in case folks weren't unsure of the carnage of forms today. I mean, we might get a chance because Ignited could probably just kind of scope out while they're going through Spooky and see like any ability chest and maybe try to pick up in hopes of second chance. But probably beyond that, probably not really going to be too concerned about looking for anything.
Yeah, your stats are high enough to where you're kind of just going to blitz through final fights. Best defense is a good offense, some might say.
A little bit. Use that rapid thruster to stay away here.
Oh!
Got touched up from behind.
What? That enemy, I hate that enemy.
Rapid thrusters they're very weird to deal with if you don't have like a magnet, just because all you do is you just clash on them because you can't use their speed trap RC on carpet.
It makes sense. Maybe. I might be... No, it doesn't.
It does not compute.
But kind of crazy how Sora dies before the carpet does. Did you ever think about that?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Good Zigbar from Bublo. Probably praying they're going to be getting with this Wisdom form. Might be dipping to go check out Shanyu.
Yeah, I think at this point, unless you decide to push further into this in hopes of that Wisdom form, I think you just take the lesser of two evils and just go take a chance on Shanyu in hopes of that Spooky Cave access, but that torn page just being there. If torn page is sitting here on Shanyu, Bublo is right back in this unless they just blitz Wisdom form right away. And like anything could still happen at this point for final fights. But he's gotta hope that the torn page is just here on Shanyu. because otherwise, again, you're pretty much having to just guess and hope that you're right at this point on which form has it for you, since you've unfortunately neglected a few forms along the way that definitely could have had their levels done a bit sooner.
There is also a loadless difference of about 50 seconds in Bublo's disadvantage. Not only that, with the stat advantage, this would be a little spooky. Speaking of spooky, Spooky Cave. One more check, Sean Yu, please.
Oh boy.
We know you love reading. Please give us the torn page.
It's not.
You need Wisdom 7 to get that torn page. And you need Wisdom 6 to go into Spooky Cave. Alright, cool. Auto Valor, cool.
Wait.
I was really hoping Auto Wisdom would have been there.
Oh, Bublo's going all the way. Yeah, they're going all the way to Mushroom here to level up Valor form.
Alright, Ignited, she now has access to final fights, can use the Promise Charm to access them through the computer.
Which for Bublo, this makes sense to do. They don't know that it's sitting there on Wisdom 6, unfortunately.
Yeah, you have no way of knowing. You have no idea how deep it is in the world that never was. They logically, they should know that it has to be somewhere with before Syax, on Syax or before that Wisdom form, because that other way of the Dawn is in Pooh. So yeah, you're gonna either gamble on the world that never was or rush whatever forms you have left.
Well, at least from Bublo's perspective, they don't know that like how much deeper that other way to the Dawn is just yet. So
well, they know there's a torn, but yeah, they don't know the torn page is on Wisdom 6. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other alternative option, Data Syax.
Yeah, and unfortunately that is a bit of content to have to go clear, because you still have to go through Hyenas, get through Scar as quickly as you can, and then go do Hyenas 2 as quickly as you can, and then try and get through Ground Shakers as fast as you possibly can.
Yeah, and with the
on top of having to make
stat
a long run.
Yeah, strength stat that's only a little bit above the floor for Pride Lands 2. Maybe about 7 strength over, not too bad.
Yeah, just unfortunate with in terms of like form routing for Bublo, because a lot of prime opportunities back in like TR and a few other places definitely would have helped kind of push them along to make those decisions probably a little bit sooner on pulling the trigger for form, just because
there's
the
Mythril Crystal
further along.
I knew it was
and
on
there's the Beast
somewhere.
Claw finally.
Oh, the Beast Claw. Oh, cool. All right.
We unfortunately are not going to see what's on Final 7. Ignited, she is doing Chicken Little here, which I don't blame. Safer option.
Junction the chicken. That's true. Very good.
I mean, we know there's nothing of importance on Final 7, but hey, we're still curious.
Yeah, I'm sure it's Auto Wisdom. Don't worry.
Yeah, wouldn't that be something?
Upper slash. I forgot that was there.
Yeah, and
that's Bublo's confirmation that he literally, they would have to push the world that never was if they wanted it. Yeah.
Yeah, then at that point it's just choosing the right form.
We love form roulette.
Oh, excuse me. To be able to quickly get to that torn page. Bublo's stats are also still kind of not sitting super great. I think Ignited, she took very good advantage of the accessory slots that they got along the way that was kind of missing there for Bublow's side.
Along with the tier 2 magnet coming into play to pick stuff up a lot better too. Stitch cooperating, no cheap shots. Along with Bublo never had once more either. So they didn't have as much of a safety net.
Yeah. I think at that point, when you're pretty much solely hunting for either and that once more not being there to save, wiping Bublo out. As Ignited, she is now on her way to Final Zem.
Completely disagree with that death that just happened to Bublo. That reflect should have gone off. That's crazy to me.
But Ignited, she should be able to make very quick work here. Final Zem with the magic stat they've got and having Reflega to just kind of really muster on through.
Mustard?
Ooh, right there at the brink of Dome.
Oh, Riku's about to push them. Riku, no. Riku almost pushed them into Dome skip range. In fact, oh my goodness. There we go. Nicely
there
done.
It is. Very nicely done. Ignited is joining the gold bracket. With our filling in our 5th slot for the remainder of the 2-2s. We still have one more match in the 2-2 side to determine our top 16 for gold bracket. GG's though to both runners. Incredible stuff today.
Yep. Flow versus Dare will be happening Saturday at 6 p.m. EST. Be there or be square or don't. Just be there. Just show up, support the stream. Not the stream. Support the runners. Go follow the runners. Speaking of which, silver bracket signups are still ongoing for those who are eliminated from the gold bracket. So you can sign up for those in the League Chat Discord if you'd like. Not only that, but our gold and silver brackets will start within a few days after the tiebreaker async period ends. Be sure to check out the Discord for those announcements on when that's happening. Anything else you want to say, IBA?
No, just stay tuned for this Saturday's action. Hopefully, we're in store for another exciting race for the last slot. And we got word that we're going to be going ahead and sending the stream off to Comey for the Nightmare incentive. So be sure to go show them all the love and support as well. And we'll see y'all on Saturday.
Thanks for watching.